Good morning. We are going to do an article about the artillery analysis in the Battle of Trafalgar. We know there are a lot of documentaries in the TV which speak about the battle, but one thing that is very important to analyze in a combat is the artillery analysis, the different aspects of artillery, no? And this has not been done well, just pure propaganda from the official English side, and the English authors take this propaganda and play with them, and not just in Trafalgar, but also in all the combats of those 10 or 20 years, 1790 to 1810. It is protocolar. It is a protocol in the English to picture a nice drawing of the combat in general. And we are going to speak about the artillery analysis, all founded in good sources. We are going to explain the British. We are going to explain about the 27 line ships of the official list. Apart, there are the we believe the 11 other ships that the English they say they are frigates. They don't give the name or they don't exist. But we are going to speak about the 27 of the official list. The low battery of the 23 line ships of the English with guns of caliber 32. English caliber, because we know English caliber is different to French caliber and to Spanish caliber. In the English ships, low battery, 23 of the 27 ships with 32 caliber, and the rest 4 of the 27 ships with 24 caliber. In the second battery, in the second floor, we have of the 27 English ships, 7 with 24 caliber and 20 with 18 caliber. So in this medium floor, medium battery, we have 7 English ships with 24 caliber. Then upper floor, we have some guns of 8 caliber and 12 caliber, like the English, like the French and the Spanish, but carronades. We have 6 English ships with just 6 or 8 carronades, and this is the source is Mark Atkin. 6 or 8 carronades. Another 6 line ships with 18 or 20 carronades, many of them of a 32 caliber. 32 caliber, but this is just in 6 of them, and another 6 of them just 6 or 8 carronades. We have already 12 of the 27 ships, and the rest of ships, it is unknown by this author Mark Atkin. It is unknown what they were carrying about carronades, but there is the ordinance, the general ordinance of those days in the English side. It was 6 carronades. The general ordinance. Okay, now we go with the Spanish. The Spanish have 15 ships, that in reality will be 14, because the Rayo don't enters in the combat until the very end, and it throws a few shots. So we have from the 15 or 14, in the low battery, 9 of them is 36 caliber. 36 caliber. Then 6 of the 6 of the 15 is of 24 caliber. Then in the medium floor, medium battery, 7 of them is 24 caliber, and 8 of them is 18 caliber. And then apart about in the upper floor, we have about the caliber 8 or 12. We have 12 or 13 ships with 10 or 20 pieces, 20 guns of caliber 8 or 12. And apart of this, we have 12 line ships with a strong amount of obuses of 16 or 20 obuses. 12 line ships with 16 or 20 obuses, and many of them with a big caliber. Hmm? Okay, French. In the low battery, the 18 ships of the line ships that come in Trafalgar, that in reality will be 14, because the four, there are four French ships that don't participate in the battle, that run away because they are in the forefront of the Allied formation. So, in the low battery of the 18 or 14 line ships of the French is 36 caliber. The medium battery, the 18 ships are 18. And in the upper one, it has a combination of the pieces of caliber 8 and 12, and just 4 or 6 carronades. Just 4 or 6 carronades in the ships of the French. And as I say, we have to remove from the 18 French ships the 4 French ships that run away, and from the 15 Spanish ships, the Rayo, that didn't almost participate. That would make 28 Allied ships really in the battle. And apart from the 27 line English ships, we have to add we have to speak about the 11 more that are coming are coming slowly, no? And they are hidden. We suspect, we believe firmly that is 38, the amount of line ships that English had in Trafalgar. This is the 38, the amount of adding 27 of the official list plus 11 different ones that appear in the interim list, that is the one that is sent to the authorities in England, really, and is also hiding things, because the generals of in Trafalgar, English, didn't want to acknowledge all the casualties, all the in ships and humans, because they had fear of the consequences of being fired out of the army, being condemned, etc. Okay. So now we are going to speak about these comparisons. We see that in the medium battery there are not advantages in the couples 1-to-1, in the when it's 1-to-1. There are no advantages in the medium battery, I say, because we have 24 or 18 in both sides. The question, as we see, the English caliber is lower than the French, and more is lower than the Spanish. We have 7 ships in the medium battery of the English with 24 and 20 with 18. It's almost the same that these 27 of the official list, apart the 11 others. But when we are speaking in a 1-to-1, the first encounter, 1-to-1 combat coupling, okay, so the main difference is in the low battery. We have 36 caliber in the Allied in front of 32 in the English, and also of the 27 line ships English officials, 23 are 32, but 4 are 24. This can be compensated with the Spanish, that has also in the low battery 6 of the ships with 24 in front of the 4 of the English with 24, and the rest of the Spanish are 36, and all the French are 36 as well, no? And we are going to speak about the different versions about the weight in kilos of the pounds of each of the nation in that time. One say that is 8 English 8 Spanish pounds is the same weight as 9 British pounds. That would make a difference of 60 grams per pound. The heavier the Spanish, 60 grams per pound. The French had 40 grams more than the English, but the Spanish had 60 grams more than the English per pound. So we see that the English is the pound, the lower the pound, and also it has the lower caliber. It gives an English bullet of 32 caliber is 14.51 kilos. 14.51 kilos, 32 English caliber. French bullet of 36 would make a 17.62 kilos, and Spanish of 36 would make 18.37 kilos. 18.37 kilos. So we see a difference of almost 4 kilograms more the bullet of 36 in the low battery in the Spanish, 4 kilos more per bullet than the English. And 3 kilos more the French bullet of 36 than the English of 32. More or less, rounded. Okay. And another example is the English bullet of 24 that would be 10.88 kilos. While the Spanish bullet of 24 is 12.24 kilos. That would make almost 1 kilo and a half more. 1 kilo and a half more in the 24. Just bullet to bullet of the same caliber. These counts are by the sources, official sources of authors, and they are in the internet. You search them, and the English pound, the Spanish pound was 510 grams, 490 grams. The French, well, more or less, and 450 more or less the English. Well, as we said, 60 grams per libra more the Spanish, and 40 grams per libra more the French, per pound, sorry. And we have, this is very important, because what we are going to say now, because they are official sources. We have the Admiral Sanjurjo from the Spanish Navy nowadays, that has made an article on the artillery, a bit about a bit technical on the guns, on how they made it. Yes. And he says that the Spanish bullet of 36 at 100 meters, perforated. It goes into the boot. When it crosses the bullet, penetrates into the boot. The width of he says, Admiral Sanjurjo, that in his article, that penetrates the 36 caliber bullet, the width of the boot of an oak boot, 130 centimeters. That is quite 130 centimeters penetrates the bullet of 36 in the boot of oak in the ships. That is test that have been done when the Spanish are updating the artillery. In 1803, 2 years before Trafalgar, the Spanish are updating the artillery of the ships, and they make all the trials, and this is official data. And at 400 meters, 130 centimeters, it is at 100 meters, but at 400 meters, it penetrates 100 centimeters. And also we have to compare what it says an English military, official military of nowadays, that he is in a documentary, English documentary in Trafalgar, that is in YouTube. It is called. It is put by Ian Broadbent, I think is his call, no? And he's interviewed this military English, and he says that at close range, literally he says this: at close range, the English bullet of 32 caliber penetrates 2.5 feet inside the boot. 2.5 feet inside the boot. This is said by an English military. Like the previous amount of penetration by the Spanish, it is said by Spanish Admiral Sanjurjo. So we know that 2.5 feet is quite less than a meter. 2.5 feet is less than a meter, because a foot is 0.30 meters. So 2.5 is 85 centimeters. It is quite less than 100 centimeters the Spanish, or 130 centimeters the Spanish at 100 meters of distance. And this is very important, because how strong penetrates the bullet, it makes more or less damage. If we have a bullet that is thrown at the same speed than other bullet, but with more weight, because the bullet it weighs more, then the damage is bigger if it arrives with the same speed at the point of crash. Okay, this is basic mechanics, no doubt. Now, and also we have to speak one thing important, is to notice that a few 4 or 5 ships of the Spanish Navy were made in La Habana, in Cuba. We're using tropical boots like teca. Teca was used for the quilla, for the keel. Very important part, because it's very long and it sustains the ship, no? And it was important because they had a bit lower weight than oak wood, for example, but it's harder than that, no? So if the English has a lower capacity of penetration due to a smaller caliber and to a smaller weight of the pound, and also some of the Spanish ships has a stronger than oak wall of wood, then it's going to penetrate less. And this is coherent with the data we have from the Santísima Trinidad, the Spanish casualties after many hours of combat. It is coherent with the data of the Príncipe de Asturias, also from La Habana, with a lot of combat and low casualties, because they have a strong boot and the English have a lower caliber. Apart is the propaganda. Okay. And all of this, we have to speak also about the carronades. The Spanish had a bunch in the obuses, because they had 12 line ships with 16 or 20 obuses. That were just the obus was superior in some aspects to the carronades, because it has a longer range, can start shooting before, and also it had different munition. It had explosive grenades as well. They were developed by the Spanish when they were not in the ordinance of the 1803, but 10 years before. 10 years before already were developing the carronades. That's because we have some very, very powerful ships, no? In the Spanish Navy, we have, for example, the Príncipe de Asturias, 14 carronades of 48 caliber. You can imagine 48 caliber, how weak they are, and it has 14. Well, So as I say, the Spanish have 12 books, 12 ships with 16 or 20 obushes, while the English in the official list of 27 just they have 6 line ships with 18 or 20 carronades. This is from Mark Atkin. So we have 6 more ships in the Spanish with a lot of obuses than in the English side, no? But these are important, very important when the couplings, when the combats are 1-to-1. That is, when the two English lines are arriving. But you have to understand that the Collingwood line arrives first 45 minutes before than the line of Nelson. That is a bit further to the north. When the couplings in the combats are 1-to-1, these differences are strong. But later, when it comes the other ships of the English, the 11 more and the two lines, by the accumulation of ships and the local superiorical numeriority, local number superiority along the time, along the hours of the combat, then it's a secondary. Then the English have more power, no, because they can surround. But until this advance of the English, that is what the English want to stress in the propaganda. Until this superiority of the English in numbers of ships, we have 2 or 3 hours of gunning. So with these strong differences. Now we are going to explain of another very important thing, that is the ratio of gunning, the speed of gunning, the speed of the gunning, the amount of times that you shoot your gun in each time, no? That this is another part of the English propaganda, that they were throwing 3 times farther. Nah, I don't believe nothing of that. We have to understand that the gunning is limited by 2 things: the cooling of the gun and the redisposition of the gun. You have to wait some time until the gun becomes cold, then you can clean it, and then you can charge it again. And also you have to move it. So you can be a bit faster than the other, a bit faster. We are speaking with the same number of men in one battery and the same number of men in other battery. You can be a bit faster, but it's not going to be 3 times faster than it say the English. No. And also you have to understand that the Spanish also have fire keys developed by the Spanish. Fire keys, no, that in most of the Spanish ships, not in all, but yes, in most. Okay. We are going to speak about the big guns, no? The 32, the 36 caliber guns. It is known that the unit from 8 servants to 14 servants of these big guns. And we are speaking about double crew of a gun, double servant of a gun. When a double crew of a gun, it is assigned to manage 2 guns, one in one side of the ship and the other in the other side of the ship. That is a double battery crew that can be divided in one gun and in the other gun. When this double crew is divided between the 2 guns, the speed of gunning comes down to the half or less. The speed of gunning comes down to the half of less when it does this to the half when it is done when the double crew is divided between the 2 guns. Okay. And now we are going to say one data that is official from the Spanish admiral, that is, with double crew, the gun of 36 caliber Spanish caliber, it is thrown 1 shot each 2 minutes. 1 shot each 2 minutes of the 36 caliber with double crew in that gun. If it divides, then the half. in general. Now, we are going to speak about the crews serving the guns in the Battle of Trafalgar. That is also very important, because not just the caliber, not just the weight of the pound, not just the amount of guns, not just that, also the amount of servants. It is what gives the robust, the resistance, and the speed of gunning along 2 or 3 or 4 hours of combat. Okay. French, 14 ships with 74 guns, with 750 or 800 crew in each ship. 14 ships of 74 guns with 750 or 18 crew in each ship. And also 4 ships of 80 guns with more than 900 crew or 1000 crew in each one. And this is very important, because the French side, it is the most populated of the 3 of the battle. More than the Spanish, more than the English, the French has 18 ships. We have to take out 4 of them that are of 74 guns. So it is 14 ships with 4 of them 80 guns, ships with more than 900 or 1000 crew. British, the 27 officials, 2 ships with 820 crew. Just 2 ships with 820 crew. 5 ships with 730 crew. So it is 7. And the rest of the 27, that are 20 ships, just with 620 crew, and 5 of them with just 500 crew. You compare that it has just 2 with 820, 5 with 730, and the rest with 620 and 500. 20 of them with 620 and 500, which is a very low crew in the English side compared with the French and also with the Spanish. The Spanish one, 3 ships, the Spanish, with 1050 crew or more. 1050 or more crew in 3 Spanish ships of the 15 ships Spanish. 3 ships with 740, 3 ships with 740, and the rest of the Spanish ships with 635, more or less. The rest. That would make 9 Spanish ships with 635 crew, compared with the 20 of the English with 620 and 5 with of them with just 500. So we see that the French has a lot, no? We have to take out the 4 of the French of the Dumanoir Vanguard. We have to take out the Rayo from the 15 Spanish, and this counting compared with the 27 of the official English list, give a number of crew of more than 3,000 men in the Allied fleet, more than 3,000 men in the Allied fleet than in the English fleet, just counting the 27 ships of the official English list, not the 38 that really they came, apart from the frigates and etc. No? So it is 3,000 men more to manage mainly the big guns, because they weigh a lot. No? They weigh more. They weigh 2 tons or 3 tons with all the rest of the ships of the gun. And in particular, the French has 2,000 more of these 3,000 more. Of the 3,000 more that has crew the Allied versus the English, 2,000 are English and 1,000 are Spanish. And if we divide it in guns, if we apply this difference of 100 more or less, more, because it gives you a 3 people or 4 people, more near 4 people of servants that has the Spanish and the French servants in the heavy guns of 36 than servants than the English servants in the 32 English caliber guns. 3 or 4, more 4 per gun, and you know that there are 30 guns in the low battery in general, no? So this difference is very important. If you have a stronger boot, that you have a stronger caliber, that you have a stronger pound, that you have a stronger crew, because it's many more. In 2 or 3 hours of gunning, there are wounded. There are casualties in the crews, so the guns throw slower. So this is the reason why the English had, for the English, is a defeat, Trafalgar, because they have more casualties. The interim list gives 7,000 dead, 5,000 in combat, 2,000 drawn, but it's probably a bit more than that. It was a battle with the ships. The superiority of the English, it is 2 things. One, if to have the wind in their favor, so they choose the point where to cut the enemies, where the enemies have difficult access, difficult help because of the wind direction. You know, if you are a sailor, you can go against the wind, but it goes very slowly. You have to move one side to other side, and if it is low wind, then it is almost impossible to go against the wind. No? So what the English make is to accumulate ships, to trap some of the allied ships, so that the rest cannot come easily because of the wind direction. This, together by the numerical superiority of having 38 ships, not 27, and bringing also the frigates, gives, after 2 or 3 hours, the numerical superiority. But until that, there is a lot of gunning, where the superiority is from the Allied. So we have that it is a defeat in human casualties for the British. It is a draw in the machines lost. That means in the ships that are not for any more service forever, or that are drawn in the water, the same amount in the both sides, about 20, 21, 22, 20, more or less. And also it is a triumph, it is a victory of the British side in the amount of ships captured in this trap they make, and prisoners captured. That is true. So we are going to give some examples in the Spanish side of these different add-ins of different things to consider the damages, the real damages, no? In this case of the Spanish that suffered the 32 caliber and some more boots stronger, and in their ships, in the Spanish ships, some of them, and also less crew in the English side, until it comes the numerical English superiority. In the Spanish, the damage, the Trinidad, he begins fire at 12 in the midday until 16 in the afternoon. That surrendered. the Trinidad suffered the fire of the three strongest English ships, with 205 dead, with 80 drawn, and 108 wounded. Hmm? San Leandro, just 8 dead and 28 wounded. San Justo, just 7 wounded. Santa Ana, that fought against three bridges, English 3 bridges. He fought Santa Ana against three bridges English, and another one, it was captured. Then it was recaptured by the Spanish with 97 dead and 141 wounded. The Monarca was captured at 16 with 100 dead and 150 wounded. The Neptuno, he fought against Africa, Spartiate, Minotaur, was captured, then was recaptured. 30 or 52 dead and 47 wounded. The Príncipe, with 4 hours of fire, he retired to Cadiz with just 52 men dead and 110 wounded, having fought and retired 5 or 6 enemy ships. This is one of the ships that its wood is made of precious wood from the tropic, from Cuba, with teca and others. There are 2 or 3 different woods, and they are all harder in the hardship scale than the normal European woods. And this shows that fighting with 5 or 6 ships, the Príncipe just had 52 men dead and 110 wounded. The Trinidad, as I've said already, the Nepomuceno, 120 dead and 175 wounded, total 1,054 dead and 1,300 or 1,500 wounded. Another example, in the French, the Aigle, 100 dead and 200 wounded. The Intrepid, 100 dead and 200 wounded. Total 3,400 men dead and 1,200 wounded, because they have drone ships as well. Okay, with this we finish the article about the analysis of the artillery, no? Thank you. Good morning. We are going to do an article about the artillery analysis in the Battle of Trafalgar. We know there are a lot of documentaries in the TV which speak about the battle, but one thing that is very important to analyze in a combat is the artillery analysis, the different aspects of artillery, no? And this has not been done well, just pure propaganda from the official English side, and the English authors take this propaganda and play with them, and not just in Trafalgar, but also in all the combats of those 10 or 20 years, 1790 to 1810. It is protocolar. It is a protocol in the English to picture a nice drawing of the combat in general. And we are going to speak about the artillery analysis, all founded in good sources. We are going to explain the British. We are going to explain about the 27 in the battle that ran away because they are in the forefront of the Allied formation. So, in the low battery of the 18 or 14 line ships of the French is 36 caliber. The medium battery, the 18 ships are 18. And in the upper one, it has a combination of the pieces of caliber 8 and 12 and just 4 or 6 carronades. Just 4 or 6 carronades in the ships of the French. And as I say, we have to remove from the 18 French ships the 4 French ships that run away, and from the 15 Spanish ships, the Rayo, that didn't almost participate. That would make 28 Allied ships really in the battle. And apart from the 27 line English ships, we have to speak about the 11 more that are coming are coming slowly, no? And they are hidden. We suspect, we believe firmly that is 38, the amount of line ships that English had in Trafalgar. Line ships of the official list. Apart, there are the we believe the 11 other ships that the English they say they are frigates. They don't give the name or they don't exist. But we are going to speak about the 27 of the official list. The low battery of the 23 line ships of the English with guns of caliber 32. English caliber, because we know English caliber is different to French caliber and to Spanish caliber. In the English ships, low battery, 23 of the 27 ships with 32 caliber, and the rest 4 of the 27 ships with 24 caliber. In the second battery, in the second floor, we have of the 27 English ships, 7 with 24 caliber and 20 with 18 caliber. So in this medium floor, medium battery, we have 7 English ships with 24 caliber. Then upper floor, we have some guns of 8 caliber and 12. 9 of them is 36 caliber. 36 caliber. Then 6 of the 15 is of 24 caliber. Then in the medium floor, medium battery, 7 of them is 24 caliber and 8 of them is 18 caliber. And then apart about in the upper floor, we have about the caliber 8 or 12. We have 12 or 13 ships with 10 or 20 pieces, 20 guns of caliber 8 or 12. And apart of this, we have 12 line ships with a strong amount of obuses of 16 or 20 obuses. 12 line ships with 16 or 20 obuses, and many of them with a big caliber. Hmm? Okay, French. In the low battery, the 18 ships of the line ships that come in Trafalgar, that in reality will be 14, because the four, there are four French ships that don't participate caliber, like the English, like the French and the Spanish, but carronades. We have 6 English ships with just 6 or 8 carronades, and this is the source is Mark Atkin. 6 or 8 carronades. Another 6 line ships with 18 or 20 carronades, many of them of a 32 caliber. 32 caliber, but this is just in 6 of them, and another 6 of them just 6 or 8 carronades. We have already 12 of the 27 ships, and the rest of ships, it is unknown by this author Mark Atkin. It is unknown what they were carrying about carronades, but there is the ordinance, the general ordinance of those days in the English side. It was 6 carronades. The general ordinance. Okay, now we go with the Spanish. The Spanish have 15 ships, that in reality will be 14, because the Rayo don't enters in the combat until the very end, and it throws a few shots. So we have from the 15 or 14 in the low battery.